All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a massive economic showdown happening right now in the global textile industry. And, this could seriously change the story behind the clothes you're wearing.
So it all kicks off with this huge crisis brewing in a single industry, an industry that is quite literally the fabric of an entire country's economy.
1 million. Let that number sink in. That's how many jobs are on the line as this absolute cornerstone of their economy starts to buckle. So how on earth did things get this bad?
To really get the scale of this, you have to understand just how incredibly dependent Bangladesh's whole economy is on making clothes. It's kind of mind-blowing.
I mean, just look at this. A whopping 84% of all the foreign money Bangladesh earns comes from selling garments. This isn't just a big part of their export economy, it is their export economy.
But here's a key distinction. When we say cloth, we're really talking about two different things. On one side, you have textiles, the raw materials like yarn and fabric, which India is a giant in. On the other, you have apparel, the finished clothes. That's Bangladesh's specialty. They import the textiles, mostly from India, and their huge workforce stitches it all together.
And they are everywhere. Seriously, go check the tags in your closet. There's a really good chance you've worn clothes made in Bangladesh. All the big names, H&M, Zara, Calvin Klein, they all rely on these factories.
Okay, so an industrial giant like this doesn't just fall apart overnight, right? The pressure has been building for a while now, with the threads of their success slowly but surely unraveling.
It was almost like a perfect storm started brewing. First, back in April, India put restrictions on land ports, which really messed up some crucial trade routes. And that was just the start of the squeeze. Then, bam, a huge blow came from their second biggest customer, the United States. A heavy tariff that suddenly made all their products way more expensive for Americans to buy.
So you've got messed up trade routes, you've got punishing tariffs, and then the lights go out. Literally. Power cuts brought factories to a dead stop. Each one of these was a body blow to the industry. But believe it or not, the knockout punch was still on its way.
And that brings us to the one single event that was a complete game changer for everyone.
India went and signed what some analysts are calling the mother of all trade deals with the European Union. Why does that matter so much? Because the EU is the single biggest market for clothes made in Bangladesh.
See, for years, Bangladesh had this incredible advantage, an ace up their sleeve. They had duty-free, zero-tariff access to Europe. Competitors like India didn't. Well, this new deal just completely erased that advantage overnight. Suddenly, it's a level playing field.
And the prize they're fighting for? It's massive. India now has zero tariff access to the EU's apparel market, which is worth $250 billion. That's the very market that built Bangladesh's empire. And make no mistake, this was not an accident. This was a clear, strategic goal. As India's Commerce Minister himself said, the whole point was to create a level playing field so they could compete head-to-head with Bangladesh.
So what does all of this mean for the future? We're not just talking about these two countries. This could reshape the entire global supply chain for clothes.
The old way of doing things is officially broken. Before, India would sell the yarn to Bangladesh, who would then stitch the clothes and sell them to Europe. But now, India can just skip that middle step entirely. They can control the whole process, from the cotton field right to the European store shelf.
And this move fits perfectly into India's bigger ambitions. They have a huge national goal to hit $100 billion in textile and apparel exports by 2030.
So what we're seeing here is a total shakeup of the manufacturing leaderboard in Asia. Yeah, China is still the undisputed #1, but that race for the #2 spot, it is now wide open.
And that's really the biggest takeaway here. This whole story isn't just about shirts and yarn. It's a massive, strategic realignment with consequences for the whole world. It leaves us with one final, really important question to think about.